Alright, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Elden Ring walkthrough. So, before we go anywhere, I just wanted to upgrade my spirit ashes a little bit, because we'll probably get some use out of them today. I'm just going to run with the lone wolf ashes for now. Honestly, one of my favorite ones in the game. If you haven't given any of them a try, obviously experiment with them, but the jellyfish ash is actually really good as well. It's pretty tanky, and it attacks with like shoots poison, so against bosses it can be really helpful. If the boss can be poisoned, some of them can't, but if they can, usually the jellyfish can survive long enough to proc the poison, and it's going to do a ton of damage over the course of the fight if you're fighting something that has a lot of health like a boss. So I would definitely recommend trying that one out if you haven't. But the first place we are going is, I think this. I closed my notes. Yeah, nope, I was wrong. I was close, but I was wrong. Seaside Ruins is what we want. Alright. And then somewhere around here there should be a spirit spring to jump down into. Ride that all the way down, and we want to kill this vampire dude. He's not a vampire, but he looks like a vampire. They're called, well, there's Onyx Lords and Alabaster Lords. He kind of looks like both. These guys are really cool though. They use, I think this is an Onyx one. Maybe, I don't know. He's just like gray in the middle, but they use these gravity attacks. They're gonna pull you in if they land, and so you see I get hit by that and it just yanks me forward, and then he can follow up with a melee attack. It's pretty cool. So like that one, that's like a combo that is guaranteed basically to land if he hits that like shockwave he did immediately. I was just in position for him to hit me with the follow-up anyway. But normally this thing is just comboing the gravity pull into a melee attack. He's going to give us the Ash of War Gravitas, which is what that attack that he just used is, where he stabbed his sword into the ground. Pretty fun one. And then we can go in this cave here and grab that item that you saw up on the ledge in the first episode. As soon as you get to, after the tutorial boss kills you. Cave of Knowledge is right over there. Haligdrake Talisman. And then we can warp back to Seaside Ruins. And we want to go into this ruin over here. It's ruined by the seaside. I get it now. All the dots are connecting in my head. Talk to this guy. This is Bloody Finger Hunter Yura. And he's just telling us not to mess with the lake, basically. Advice that I am going to heed myself. But we're going to do everything around the edge of the lake, because he didn't say not to scope out the perimeter. Alright, and then you want to kill this guy, like, as soon as possible. I have a really good weapon for doing this on horseback. Oh no. But you want to get out of the crab's way as soon as possible. So if that means dismounting for you, that's what you got to do. And I'm just going to run over here and rest real quick to reset the crabs. Do not want to deal with that right now. And that, what's it called? Teardrop Scarab just gave you the unsheathed Ash of War that I actually have on my weapon right now, so. Alright, and then very optional. If I can get my lock on up to that guy, I'm pretty sure it's that one. If you attack this guy, he's going to turn into a giant rune bear. And it's, you know, what to say about rune bears. Not the most fun thing to fight. maybe we'll just leave it at that. But if you kill it, it'll drop a larval tear, which is the thing you have to trade in to respec your character. Really doesn't have any value right now since we haven't reached the point in the game where you can respec your character yet. But there are, I believe, 18 of them in the game, which means you can respec your character up to 18 times in one playthrough, and that would be one place where you can get one. I'm gonna hold off on that for now. And then I'm gonna start taking these soldiers out. Kidding. But you don't want to cause too much of a scene. Ideally, we can kill these guys without alerting that sorcerer or the one up on top of that ruin, because if they see us, they're just going to start raining down magic, and it's going to make the rest of this area more frustrating to deal with. So there's one. Get the Royal House Scroll. So I don't think I've mentioned this yet, but throughout the game you're going to collect these scrolls that are going to teach you more sorceries, and then the incantation equivalent is prayer books. So the way that they work is you take them to an NPC that can decipher them for you, and then that NPC is going to be able to teach you them, quote unquote. By teach, I just mean they can sell them to you. And then the thing is with them, you want to be careful what NPC you take them to. We're going to meet the NPC, the first one at least, that you can trade sorcery scrolls to, right up in these ruins here in like 2 minutes. I guess let me just finish explaining this before I start getting distracted again. Lots of NPCs, almost every single one in fact in this game, has a quest line where they're going to, you know, move around and do things throughout the world. And sometimes at certain locations, you're not going to be able to interact with them like you normally would. So for right now, a good example is Brother Corin that we talked to last episode back in Roundtable Hold. He can take prayer books off your hands and teach you incantations, but Brother Corin has a very long quest line. He's not going to be at Roundtable Hold forever, which means, for one, that you're just going to have to go find him in some obscure remote location if you want him to, or if you want to buy an incantation that comes from one of the prayer books that you gave to him, which is kind of annoying, especially if you're not sure where he's at in the quest line, you can't find him. And on top of that, there's going to be certain steps in the quest line where he's not available as a merchant. You can only talk to him for like quest related stuff essentially. And the same thing goes for, oh, I want to kill the one with the horn first. I'm sure the sorcerers heard me, yes. But the same thing goes for the NPC that we're going to meet at these ruins up ahead. She also has a quest line, so what you really want to do, ideally, is take these to an NPC in Liurnia, which is that region that we sort of got to in that like starting loop materials run that we made in the second episode. But this is not a region that we're going to actually clear for a little while, so obviously that NPC is not, I mean, it is available to you. You can run up there if you want, but we're not going to like get to it in the walkthrough for a little bit still. So my recommendation with any of these spell scrolls or prayer books is to give them to the NPC that is most convenient if you know that you're going to use them and buy them fairly quickly. But if you're going to wait until like later in the game when you just have a ton of expendable runes and just buy everything for like completionist purposes, or, you know, basically just if you're going to let them sit in the NPC's inventory, then I would recommend waiting and giving them to this NPC in Liurnia instead, because they do not have a quest line. They're never going to go anywhere, and you will always be able to go back and buy things from them at any point in the game, which is not the case for every NPC. Crack that open for the great Epi, I don't know, that's too many E's in one place. Don't really know how to negotiate that word. Oh, I messed up there. If you manage to knock a rider off their horse, they're gonna fall on their back, and you can't actually like walk up to them and get a crit as if you had stance broken them. So I should have demonstrated that there, but you can do that. Who are you calling? Everyone's dead. Alright, so next we want to go down to this road here, and there's going to be a caravan somewhere. I don't know if it's past. No, it might be way further up the road actually. Yeah, it is. I'm stupid. Should be right around this corner. So these caravans, gonna find them all over the game. All you have to do is hit one of the trolls that's dragging it to get it to stop, and then you can open the chest in the back. There's a ton of enemies, so I'm just gonna kind of do a little hit and run here. Hit that guy, it's gonna stop moving, and you can do your moving dismount jump thing off of Torrent. Take advantage of that. Oh no. Got the great axe. A little sketchy. Sometimes the way I play this game is like completely unhinged, so there's gonna be traces of that in the walkthrough. Some questionable plays like that one. Now to get these guys off our back, we're gonna go seek refuge inside a boss fight. I thought this through so well. These guys are pretty straightforward. You just kind of want to get behind them if possible, because every time they attack, either with their head or with their weapon, they're gonna like drop their head, and your weapon is gonna like glance off their helmet and do no damage like that, so work the angles. Play passively and let that bloodlust meter drain if you need to. Down he goes. And then through here is going to be that NPC that I was talking about, Sorceress Selene. So you want to go ahead and talk to her. Tell her you want to learn sorcery. Forgot to grab that grace. Whoops. Say you still want to learn it. And then you get the nod and thought gesture. You can study sorcery, buy some sorceries from her, and then you can also give her that scroll, as I mentioned. So once again, if you're a sorcerer and you know that you're probably going to buy these spells just to have them, then go ahead and give it to her. She's not going to leave anytime soon. Plenty of opportunities to come back to her. But if you're not a sorcerer and you're just going to let these sit with her for like the rest of the playthrough basically, I would say don't give her the scroll. Because if you change your mind way down the road and you actually do want to buy some sorceries, or again, you just want to collect everything at the end of the playthrough just to say you have everything, then you're not going to be able to if you keep following her questline, because she's going to move on and not be a merchant forever. So I'm going to say no for now. And I believe you can talk to her again. Yes. Never mind.
You wish Darriwil.
No more dialogue to be had. Gonna rest up, reset all those people from the caravan. And you don't have to do that in like the psycho way that I just did. You could follow those same steps, get that grace, and have like a much more friendly spawn point here. Take out the enemies one by one, a lot safer way if you want to. But, you know, it's just for the great axe, so. Anyway. In this little alleyway here. I always get stuck on these flowers if I try to just run in here and grab this item, so be safe and kill a couple of them. You want to climb up to the top of this ruin. And then if you get the right angle, you can drop down onto this broken wall here. That flower is going to be angry. Just gonna wait for the poison to go away. And it's gonna spam either that poison mist attack or like all these beams of light that are gonna shoot down, but it doesn't really move anywhere. Same with all the other flowers, so once we drop down and grab this, we can just hit all those items that are near the flower and then get out of here. Comes the sunlight beam attack. Just stay on the move. Oh, it just sent it way over there. I don't need to demonstrate it. We're gonna find lots more of those flowers. Don't stand the poison and keep moving if it does the beams. That's all you need to know. And run over here. Grab the gold pickled foulfoot. It's consumable. It's gonna boost your rune acquisition by quite a bit temporarily. And we're gonna want one of those here in a few episodes for sure. We get to a really nice rune farm. And then make your way towards the bridge and kind of off to the left of it before you get to the bridge. Should be a spot to drop down onto another chunk of ruin. Down we go. And then you want to make your way up the river. You can kind of just ignore these skeletons. They're not going to follow you all the way to where we're going. If you do get caught by them, I don't think I've talked about skeletons yet, but skeletons you have to kill twice, basically. Once they die, they're going to fall down, and then their corpse is going to have like a glowing light on it. You have to hit that light while they're on the ground to prevent them from getting back up and respawning. So just be wary of that if you do decide to fight those guys. And you're going to get kicked off your horse here and invaded. That guy we talked to a second ago in the ruin, Bloody Finger Hunter Yura, is going to show up. If you just hold out for a second and survive, you don't have to get the NPC to like a health threshold or anything. You just have to wait. There he is. That guy can heal up to 1 time, so no more heals from him. But he can build up a ton of bleed. And he has that ranged special attack that'll do bleed as well. So be very careful. Just want to play it safe. Use the tag team to your advantage. When he turns around, get a backstab. All out of heals, as I said. And down he goes. So you actually get his dagger that had that special bleeding attack. I think it's a really nice starting weapon if you're going for a blood loss build. Bloody Finger Hunter Yura returns home. And then you can keep going up to the top of this river here. And Yura should be chilling right around the corner. Alright, cool. And then we'll be back this way. There's some catacombs back here. Just grab this item for the hell of it. It's sitting right there. But then you want to make your way back towards right about where we got kicked off our horse, and there's actually going to be a cave entrance on the right. I'm stocked up on runes. Have I not leveled up yet? No, I have not. Oh, there we go. Marked by that little fire. Did I not grab the grace that was at Waypoint Ruins? No, I did. Okay, good. Alright, and I'm going to continue not to level up because we do need to buy some things here. Alright, I like to crouch here, and then there's these little, you can see these chains with bells on the sides of them. These pop up in caves every once in a while, especially ones that have like bandits in them like this. If you go through those, the bell's going to ring obviously, and it's going to not only alert these two, but there's like 5 more enemies I think in that cave to the left, so I would recommend not tripping those. Take these guys out. and then we can deal with the ones on the left. So the first two are going to be standing up, and then the other ones are going to be like resting. I think it's the second guy that always likes to throw a poison pot. So watch out for him. They both ran out this time. Like 9 times out of 10 though, I forget about that, and he throws a throwing pot that poisons me. So you can just, obviously there's a grace right back there, so if he hits you, just reset. It's no big deal, but you don't want to be dealing with that poison, obviously. Relax. Alright, and then down the other route. Boss fight. And we meet an old friend. Alright, so you want to be probably careful here if your weapon does do blood loss build-up. I doubt I'm going to proc it in time. But we don't want to kill him. There we go. Okay. So, just get him low enough, he's going to surrender. Stop attacking him. And eventually, the boss fight ends. Get the grovel for mercy gesture. Then you can go ahead and talk to our old buddy Patches once he's done yapping. Forgive and forget. Alright, so once you reload the area, he'll be a merchant. So I'm going to go ahead and return to entrance. And then these enemies in here will leash if you run straight to the room that Patches was in. They won't follow you in there, so... I guess I haven't... I assume the ones from the left cave wouldn't follow you in there either. I always make a point to not trip those bells, so I guess I haven't tested it, but... I don't know. You'll figure it out. Alright, and then you can talk to him about the bandits if you want. He does have a quest line, so this stuff isn't like relevant to the quest line really, but rule of thumb, if an NPC has dialogue, go ahead and exhaust the dialogue, right? Alright, and then we have the Missionary's Cookbook 2 that you can buy for 800 runes, and then also Margot's Shackle, pretty pricey at 5,000. If you don't have that, you can hold off for a little bit. I'll remind you to buy it again once it's like really necessary, but this thing is actually super useful. It says briefly binds Margot, which is going to be for a boss, and it's going to help make that boss fight easier, right? But it also does this really cool thing that'll show off in the next catacomb that we go to. Maybe not the next catacomb, but whenever it's relevant. All right, I'm not going to tease it, or I'm not going to spoil it. I'm just going to tease it. You'll have to wait. But the way I usually like to handle my finances, if you will, is I basically don't touch my golden runes for the entire playthrough unless I want to buy something. I don't spend them on leveling up ever. Sometimes I'll spend them on reinforcing a weapon because, you know, if I already have the material I need to reinforce the weapon, I'm just shy a few runes. Obviously that's going to be a big power boost, so it's worth spending the runes on in my opinion. But I usually just have to like to have these in my back pocket, literally, to spend or to pop them when I want to buy something from a merchant. So that's how I like to play. If you prefer to use them for leveling up and stuff, you're going to have a bit harder time, I guess, keeping up, or just you'll have to get lucky and hope you have the runes on you, I suppose, whenever I get to a merchant and tell you to buy something. But most things I'm buying, with the exception of this, and I'm sure a few other things throughout the the game are just going to be like cookbooks and stuff, so that's totally up to you whether you want to actually grab those. Maybe you don't do crafting at all, but yeah, so that's why I haven't been spending any on leveling up, because I know that there's a lot of merchants around here that I want to buy cookbooks from. So anyway, once you do that, you want to punch him a few times and make him hostile. And then we're going to kind of do the reverse of what we just did to him. He gets us low. Tells us we can surrender. Says grovel and I'll forgive you. You want to go in... Oh. Okay. It's so buggy. I had a whole rant prepared about this. I'm just going to let him kill me. So the way it's supposed to work, you get that grovel for mercy gesture when you spare him, right? So what I think the intention was with this, like, quest step, if you want to call it that, was when he says grovel and I'll forgive you, use the grovel for mercy gesture, and then he stops attacking you and it gives you the extreme repentance gesture. In reality, I think it's bugged. I think it's always been bugged, because you can't convince me that they put that mechanic in the game where he says grovel right after you get a gesture called grovel for mercy, and then he just keeps attacking you, right? While also simultaneously giving you a gesture called extreme repentance, right? So, like, you can see how it was obviously supposed to work, but I'm guessing there's just a bug that they couldn't figure out how to make him stop attacking you, or something of the sort. But either way, after he kills you, you could actually do this next step without letting him kill you, but I'll show you why I did it this way. If you talk to him again now, you just get some extra dialogue. It doesn't really matter, but more content, right? And then if you talk to him again, you can ask him about that chest. Actually, I messed up, didn't I? If you talked to him earlier, you could ask him about the chest, and he would say it's something really valuable. And then after you aggro him again, then he says you can have the chest. That's how that was supposed to go. So I guess my whole thing of dying so you could get more dialogue was kind of dumb, since I accidentally skipped some. Either way, doesn't really matter. Just fun dialogue that's not really important. Open the chest. It's trapped. Who would have thought?
My sincerest gratitude. I thought I'd never wrench that thing open. You're the finest customer a man ever had.
Alright, so it's going to take us back to Mistwood. Now, if you just sneak, you should be able to grab all these items without making any of the bears too angry. Hello? There we go. Grab these little gold fireflies. And then we're out of here. So let's get back onto the road. I want to kind of make our way south until we get to Mistwood Ruins again. And then go ahead and open your gesture menu. Use the finger snap. Blaidd's gonna hop down, talk to him.
The name's Blaidd fled, so come tell me if I can offer you. Darriwil and in need of. Darriwil and in need of.
Alright. His dialogue has been exhausted. Sneak again, and most likely you're gonna wake up this bear, honestly, but grab these flowers. Okay, stop sneaking immediately. And get downstairs, hopefully without getting mauled. You get the Axe Talisman, which I'm actually going to equip because we don't have too many talismans, and this is the only one that is going to help me at all right now. And probably you too. We have one that boosts fire damage negation, holy damage negation, and this one enhances those charged heavy attacks, so I use those quite a bit. Why not throw that on? Now, this is like... There's no way to predict how the bear's going to behave in your world. He might have just like walked a mile away. He might be stuck on a section of wall nearby. He might just be sitting here right at the entrance. So you're gonna have to play this by ear. Do whatever makes sense to you. It's fairly easy to cheese him from right here. Just keep spamming heavy attacks, jumping attacks, whatever. Whatever it takes for you to actually be able to hit him while he's just tweaking right here. And you can keep rolling back to safety. He can be staggered, like so, but it's kind of impossible to get near his face if you're using the stairway strat to actually get that follow-up attack, so might just have to kill him the old-fashioned way. Unfortunately, you can't warp out of here because we are still trapped technically until we rest at a grace, so you might have to die. But worst case scenario, if you die, just come back, grab your runes from these stairs, and if you get stuck on the stairs again, well, try not to, but you should be able to warp away, hopefully. Alright, there we go. And we get almost 1200 runes for dealing with that, which is nice. And then, I can't remember, I think... No, I did not. Pretty sure it's like a golden rune 2. I'm really the best to ever do it. Wasn't even in the notes. Alright, now that that's taken care of, you want to run south. And then... It's a little tricky since, you know, the mist. Okay. Go more southwest than south, but you want to get to this little ridge right here. See that spirit spring as well, it's how you know you're in the right place. And then run up to the corner of the cemetery. Get the sacrificial twig, and then make your way back towards this cliff here. And run past the flowers to get back to that spirit spring. I know I'm being like way too specific with the directions right now, and you could just watch me do it, but I'm like thinking out loud for my own sake. So, apologies. And we can run around and grab all these. I think that's everything. And then we want to make our way over to Fort Haight. Should be some tombstone things poking out of the wall for you to drop down somewhere around here. Oh, there are wolves just running around. I AFK'd here earlier, and I was like, I could not, it wasn't exactly right here, but I could not figure out what killed me when I came back. There's just a pack of wolves having the time of their life in these woods. Alright, make sure to rest, clear that traps debuff. And then if you have a couple thousand runes, as I do, I'm going to run over here to this merchant and grab a couple more cookbooks. If you're short, I'll be able to tell you exactly how many runes you need here in 2 seconds, actually.
How nice.
Alright, grab the Nomadic Warriors Cookbook 5 and the Armorer's Cookbook 3. So that's going to be 3,500 runes that you need. If you don't quite have that many on you right now, we're about to clear this fort out, so hopefully that gives you enough, or at least close to enough, that you can make up the difference with whatever golden runes you have in your inventory. There's going to be a war between these soldiers and the demi-humans out front, so you can kind of just ignore that first section. Get straight to where the soldiers are, because everyone else is going to get gunned down by that ballista pretty much. I just ducked that first swing, that was so clean. Dropped a straight sword, nice. Alright, I'm gonna take out this guy so I can deal with the pumpkin head one-on-one. Oh, a couple of them survived, and he is distracted. Works out well for us, except I just got hit with the ultimate fake out. I'm actually scared of this guy. He took out that absolute monster without even losing half his health. Okay, he's a fraud. Go. Of course, we grabbed the golden seed in the first episode, but if you didn't get it for whatever reason, golden seed right there on that tree. I'm gonna go ahead and summon my wolves, why not? Alright, there's gonna be a few guys in here throwing fire bombs. Not too dangerous on their own, but there are also exploding barrels that you do not want to be standing by if a fire bomb hits them. Wolves are gonna help us out a little bit and take some of those out. Let me see if I can bait this guy into throwing it at the barrel. He's just surrendering, I guess. Alright, fair enough. Just kidding, he's not surrendering. That hurt a lot. There's a bunch of rats down here, they're gonna pop out of the woodwork, and then there will be two enemies in here. Grab the Nomadic Warriors Cookbook 6, and everyone is dead. Wait, no. We got our Estus replenished, but there's still one guy, that's weird. Not Estus, or flasks. Once a Dark Souls player, always a Dark Souls player. Take this guy out. Let him step off, because you can't backstab him when he's on the ballista for whatever reason. Oh, he fell. So sad. Alright, and then we got one more somewhat tough enemy up here. He has the Bloody Slash Ash of War, so he can actually inflict quite a lot of blood loss on you, so you don't want to get hit by that. Down he goes, we get the Ash of War for ourselves. Blood Roses. And go ahead and climb this tower. Actually, wait, I'm probably going to warp away from the top of that, so let's just grab this right now. There's a smithing stone over here in the corner. Don't want to forget about it. You guys are so in the way. And crack open the chest for the Dectus medallion left. Cool. That's all taken care of. Now we just have a bunch of kind of random things that aren't on the route to anything, so just jump all over the place and clean some stuff up. First things first, back to Murkwater Cave. I was so committed to hurting me. And he gives us the calm down gesture. So, there you go. Don't forget to buy Market Shackle whenever you can. If you don't have the runes for it right now, just keep it in the back of your mind, and I will almost certainly remind you again right before we get to that boss, so no biggie if you don't get it right now. Then you want to warp to the Third Church of America. It's gonna be a teardrop scarab around here. I kept like flipping back and forth in my mind on that first episode where we ran around and grabbed all the upgrade materials and stuff. I was like, I'm gonna say you don't have to fight anything, so we're only gonna grab stuff that requires no combat. So I originally was gonna like ignore all this teardrop scarabs, but then I was like, that's kind of dumb because they don't fight back. And then I kind of just on the fly decided to kill some of them and leave some of them alone, so. Anyway, Ash of War Sacred Blade from that one. And I don't know what I'm running from. Warp to the Artist's Shack. And you want to run pretty much straight northeast. And find a safe place to drop down to the right whenever you can. Be very careful. The fall damage in this game is like weirdly inconsistent, I feel like. I've definitely died falling off of this cliff before. Maybe not right in this spot, but like from a slightly higher spot, like right there or something. I don't know. I know for a fact that I've died to something just ridiculous, not a very far fall in that very spot. Pick up all the golden runes and then hop up here and grab the Fever's Cookbook 1. Alright, and then over here on this ruin, need another NPC. This is Kenneth Haight. Of course, go ahead and exhaust his dialogue. As you can see, you can just clear the fort first and then meet him for the first time and knock out the first 3 steps of his quest all in one go. Get the Erdsteel Dagger.
Even the witch's wire, just you. Would you like? I see bright enter, and who knows what say you?
And go ahead and pledge service.
I shall hold. I see. Right much.
Alright. Good there, and then you can warp back to Fort Haight again. Fort Haight, Kenneth Haight, see the connection. And since we cleared out all of the soldiers inside, demi-humans won the war, so there's going to be new enemies inside. Won the battle, I guess, not the war. Summon the wolves again just to speed this up. Weird broken backstab, alright. And we talk to Kenneth Haight again.
One must be true. Times that I have for the great, but now for a true. I'm for a true.
Alright. Now, warp to Agheel Lake South. And you want to just run up to this hill to the Evergaol. I mentioned in one of the last episodes, if you wanted to go use the finger snap gesture to get Blaidd down a little earlier, you could come over here then and get a Somber Smithing Stone 2. Obviously we waited until now to do that, but make sure you summon Blaidd. And then the the way these Evergaols work, you basically have all the time in the world to like buff your weapons or whatever you need to do to get ready, because the boss is not going to spawn in until you actually approach this beam over here.
Rotting in a cell is no true justice.
But if you play passively here and just focus on dodging, Blaidd pretty much can just solo this fight. Goes pretty hard. Stuns him a lot too. So this guy can be pretty tricky with the amount he moves around and his kind of weird, very agile attacks if you don't have Blaidd, but if you're doing the quest line, you obviously do get Blaidd, and then he kind of becomes pretty trivial. So down he goes. Get Bloodhound's Fang, a very, very fun weapon. Highly recommend trying that out when you get a chance. And then it should teleport us out. And we can talk to Blaidd for that smithing stone I promised.
How to work for it? Don't say I'm not. Oh, if you venture, tell him I still be sure I owe you one, alright? As soon as time we part. As soon as time we part.
Alright, his dialogue is exhausted. He tells us to go name drop him when we find his buddy a little later. That's going to be in Liurnia, so don't have to worry about that right now. And how are we doing on time? 45-ish minutes. Alright, well, 30-minute videos out of the window. Let's just go an hour. Why not? We're already here. Felt like we were making pretty good time too. I know I talk a lot, but usually I don't just like stand there and talk. I keep making progress. Oh, actually there's a teardrop scarab up here we want to grab before we head down to the lake. Get the Ash of War determination, and I'm just gonna ignore these guys. Alright, try to hug this cliff wall to the right and do not step onto that island with the fire, whatever you do. It's not worth it. So we're going to ignore the elevator and drop down to the left. Most of these tunnel mine areas are going to have a similar thing where like 9 times out of 10, if you ignore the elevator, there's going to be loot on the way down if you just drop down the platforms next to it. It's not always the case, but I would say vast majority of the time. That was really close. Let's level up, why not? Let's treat ourselves a bit. Nice. I will be invincible now. Alright, so these minor enemies, you probably are going to want to two-hand your weapon. If you one-hand, you're going to glance off. They have this hidden stat called hardness. Just determines basically how likely you are to glance off when you attack. Two-handing your weapon is going to help you to not do that though, so. This guy likes to throw stones. Unfortunately for him, he lives in a glass house. That was so wise what I just said. Did I grab the thing off the wall? I did, okay, yeah. There's smithing stones stuck to the wall that you obviously want to pick up. I forgot the one up there for a second. I didn't point them out for some reason. What they look like this, what this guy's mining. Have a subtle yellow glow if it's a regular smithing stone, or a white glow if it's a somber smithing stone. They are very hard to stagger though, so Recommend going for backstabs and everything, being more careful than I am. Once you deal with the rats, you can come in here and grab another smithing stone. And then turn around and go through the other exit. And this elevator we actually are going to take to the bottom. I need to invest in a new shield. Alright, take that one out, and then there's going to be another dog that runs over here. That could have gone better if the dog could figure out how to use the door earlier. Maybe don't corner yourself in the shack like I did. That might be the play. Grab another smithing stone and another smithing stone. Seems like you're just swimming in them until you realize that you need 12 of them before you can move on to the smithing stone 2s. Alright, roll off halfway, make sure you're facing that back wall when you go up the elevator. Alright, and then these guys you can see, if you look at his backpack thing, it's not stones, they're like, got little embers coming off of them. So, if you hit them with some fire damage, like one of these for instance. Well, my inventory's a mess right now. Flask needs to go right there. Don't know why I drank that. Cool. It did nothing because I haven't mixed anything into it. Anyway, throw a fire pot at them and they will just explode. So, that's fun. These guys with the lanterns have like a... They just use like a flamethrower basically, so... Watch out for that. Pick up the item. I haven't aggroed them, so I guess I could just craft another one. See if I can kill 2 at the same time. Almost. Alright, and then once more we're going to drop down to the left of the elevator. There's that white glowing somber smithing stone node I told you about. Should be one more in the corner here. And then time for the boss. So, you will be able to summon in here, as per usual. But this enemy has a, what's the word? Troll, that's what it's called. The word was escaping me. Also has a very high hardness stat, so you want to two-hand your weapon and not glance off. And you generally just want to stay behind him because he has that giant club that he's going to swing in front of him with. Since he's pretty slow though, it's pretty easy to get some charged heavy attacks off and stagger him. See, very dangerous in front of him. Not so bad when you're behind him. There's one thing I kind of want to demonstrate, if he feels like cooperating. Maybe better if I just stay by his feet. He does not seem to want to do it. That's no big deal. I just want to show off that you can jump over the shock waves. Oh, there's the shockwave. Oh well. Just take him down however you see fit. Get the Roar Medallion. That one enhances roars and breath attacks, so if you remember last time we went to that Church of Dragon Communion, I pointed out the Dragon Breath incantations, so that's gonna make those stronger. So if you want to use those, I'd highly recommend finding a spot for the Roar Medallion. But I think that's a pretty good place to stop for this episode. I'm gonna head back to Round Table Hold so I can rest up. Don't want to go back down there just to get the grace. But hope you guys found that helpful, and I will see you in the next video. Have a good one.